How are you today?
Good, very good. How about you?
Good, thank you. Swamiji, I'd really have a few questions to ask you.
Sure.
And as a common man, I want to know the answers of it for myself. And one of them is, what is the purpose of our life?
See, the purpose of life is to live, right?
Right?
But to live, we need to be in the present. It is the mind that goes to the past or future. It doesn't allow us to be in the present,
Okay.
right? So, therefore, it's not the number of years that we live that matters, right? If you see, Swami Vivekananda lived 39 years, Swami Ramtirtha lived 32 years.
Okay.
But those 32 years, they lived fully, right? So we need to live consciously the entire waking hours. Like when I'm talking to you now, my mind must be here.
Okay.
But that's not what happens in our life. Most of us, our mind keeps wandering,
Okay.
either to the past or the future.
Okay.
So it's the intellect that keeps the mind in the present, right? So we need to build the intellect from a relative point of view. That's the primary purpose of life. Because with the intellect, then we can live successfully and peacefully.
So,
And when you go a little deeply, what makes us live 100% in the present is knowing our true nature. So, therefore, I would say from that point of view, the purpose of life is to realize yourself. And today we believe ourselves to be this body, mind, intellect. Many of us just consider ourselves as this body alone. Very
okay.
few people know about the mind or the intellect.
What are the
Right.
three, four kind of bodies I keep hearing about?
In Vedanta, if you talk about,
Right.
we use terms like gross body,
Okay, which is
subtle
the,
body, and causal body.
okay.
Gross body, when you say the physical body.
Okay.
Subtle body, when you say thoughts, mind and intellect, ego, etc. Then when you talk about causal body, the term causal body comes to mean what causes you to take birth, right? So what causes you to take birth is your vasanas, we say. Vasanas comes from the root vas.
Okay.
Vas means fragrance.
Okay.
Like each one of us have a certain inclination or temperament. Somebody is very much interested in sports. Somebody is very much interested in dance. Somebody is very much interested in talking, etc., etc. So these are our vasanas. I am born in a particular place because I have interest there. Like a dancer is born in a dance room because of the dance vasanas.
Okay.
So it's the vasanas that cause you to take birth. That's called causal body. So causal body, subtle body, and gross body. Beyond these three bodies lies your essential self, what we call as Atma in Sanskrit. And in English, we call it as self.
So, what's this word soul? I hear a lot of it. I mean, even I'm used to using it. My soul is saying this. What is that soul? Like, sometimes I feel like I really don't want to sleep and just waste my life. I want to wake up, hear the birds chirping. I want to just watch the sun come up, walk, listen to something which is intellectual or something which is of learning, understand different masters and what their message was and what they meant by it. So it's sometimes I use the word, it's my soul's craving. So is that an imaginative word or does it really exist?
No, no. See, by the term soul, people mean different things. Technically, when you go, you should use the word soul with capital S.
Okay.
When you use the word soul with capital S, it means the Atma, the pure consciousness.
Okay.
But generally, when people use the word soul, they actually mean the jiva, the reflected consciousness.
The
not
I.
the pure consciousness.
Okay.
So the reflected consciousness is your subtle body.
Okay.
So when you say my soul is craving for this, obviously you're talking about your subtle body, not the consciousness.
Okay.
So that's what they mean by the word soul. But truly speaking, when we use the word soul, we will be talking about pure consciousness.
Okay.
And when they say soul traveling and all that, they obviously mean the jiva, subtle
Okay.
body.
The subtle body.
See, Atma, the pure consciousness, is all pervading.
Okay.
And something that is everywhere, there's no question of traveling. Movement is possible from only a place where you are to a place where you are not. So if Atma, which is the pure consciousness that is everywhere, there's no question of moving. So when you say soul traveling, it's not Atma moving. It is a subtle body that is moved from one gross body to another.
Right. Okay.
So generally they mean by soul the reflected consciousness.
Reflected consciousness. The importance of the body, because if we are the soul and to experience, which is life is a series of experiences, do you feel that waking up early, going to bed early, eating the right kind of food and what is the right kind of food. What would be your say on this?
See, when you talk about waking up early, going to bed early, if you talk about general discipline, dinacharya, you know, so certain times are good for certain things,
Right.
in the sense conducive. See, every human being's mind is made up of three temperaments called sattva, the balanced mind, rajas, the passionate, desirous mind, and tamas, the lazy, indolent mind. You know, so obviously one needs to move from the indolent mind to passionate mind to balanced mind. Ultimately, you got to move beyond the balanced mind also, which is Atma, right? So, but when you talk about from a relative angle, one needs to move from tamas to rajas to sattva.
So
So,
sattva
whether
is
it is the external time or the food, whatever you talk about, we need to understand what is conducive and then accordingly follow. So, if your goal is to increase your sattva, then rising early, going to bed early, having a sattvic food, if there is too much of energy required to digest the food, you will not have time to even sit and think or reflect.
right.
So, therefore, the type of food you eat, the type of people whom you keep company with, the type of books you read, everything would be determined by what's your goal, what's your
Right.
purpose. If your purpose is to realize the self, to attain that, perfection in life, then you need to increase sattva and go beyond sattva. So
Okay.
then, obviously, rising up early, going to bed early, having a sattvic food, everything matters a lot.
Okay. I'm going to talk about something that I have been a victim of myself as well. And till I actually did Partha Ji's lesson, and I realized, and I'd like you to throw light on this because I don't personally feel that it's just one thing that it really comes to. I think it's at many aspects of the day one goes through the feeling. And so the example I'm going to use is the glass of wine. So I'm having this glass of wine, and there's something in me, whether it's a habit, whether it's a pattern, whether it's the desire is to have another one. And then, although somewhere in my mind I know that I have to wake up in the morning, or I have to go and go to work, or sometimes send my child to school, or take care of errands, etc. There's a part of me that wants to wake up in the morning, and the other part of me is asking for the next glass of wine. Now, how can I avoid the glass of wine and stick to my initial decision of actually, okay, I'll have a glass of wine and then go to my workplace in the morning? So, what is that thing that I could do better?
See, when you use the word, what do you call, waking up in the morning and going to business, at the same time you have the desire to drink a glass of wine.
Right.
But unfortunately, many times what happens, it doesn't end with just one glass,
Okay.
right? So you tend to have more and then you go off to sleep and you don't go to work. So your question is how to control.
Yes.
The only thing that can control your mind is your own intellect.
Okay.
So you got to develop the intellect. And with a strong intellect, you can control your mind. If you
And
do not have a strong intellect,
what is the intellect?
okay, intellect and mind both are nothing but thoughts.
Okay.
So when you say mind, it is indiscriminate thought flow. Intellect is that discriminate thought flow.
So you
Right.
say a structured or a
Yeah.
flow?
So intellect is a faculty in you that can reason, think, judge, analyze, assess. It is the faculty in you which can control and direct the mind. Mind by itself doesn't have direction or dimension.
So, how I understand, you've just said that um, the intellect is my own set of a judge sitting inside of me, or a direction, or the divine self which is sitting inside of me, guiding me to
No,
my
divine
highest level.
self is the Atma.
Okay.
So intellect is the faculty
Okay.
that which enables you to think,
Okay.
reason.
Reason.
See, you have likes and dislikes.
Okay.
You are from North India. I'm from South India. I spent most of my time growing up in South India. So I like a particular set of food. You like some other set of food.
I
Nothing
agree.
wrong in it. But therefore, all of us are nothing but bundle of likes and dislikes.
Okay.
But we need to analyze and see what I like need not necessarily be what is that which I'm supposed to do. Right? Having a glass of wine or few more glasses doesn't matter, especially when next day I have nothing to do. I'm not talking about your health and all that. I'm not getting into that. But generally, I'm saying.
Yes.
But when there are certain things to do next day morning, and you still feel like having a glass of wine and wanting to go to sleep but not able to control, then that's not good. So therefore, we say you need to strengthen the intellect to control your mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying now. It's more clearer to me. And yes, after the course, I've been rather good. And at a certain point, I know it's my break point. And otherwise, the next day will be in suffering. I'm going to ask you another question today, and that is about what do you think about children? Which it's my own observation. I feel that they've gone to study abroad, and they've really increased their knowledge. They've also increased their skill. And alongside with that, they have also increased their exposure. Now, the parents, when they come back, they expect them to go into family businesses. And sometimes I notice those children who are now adults and have had this exposure seemed very unhappy with the whole transition. That is, in spite of all the transition and the exposure, they've still had to come back to the origins of the business or the way of earning money or perhaps lifestyle. So what's your take on that?
No, are you saying that they're not interested in doing business but they're forced to do business?
Yes.
See,
Join the family business,
join the
basically.
family
Who will
business.
take care of the family business if it's not you? Especially with the boys, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I understand. See, in God's creation, there is no repetition, there is no imitation.
Okay.
You know,
This is
so
news to me.
God's creation is unique.
Okay.
Each one of us are unique, and we are complete, and we have a certain nature, right? Khalil Gibran, he says, your children are born through you; they are not yours.
Oh,
So,
can you please just make this simpler for me?
yeah, in the sense, children have come into this world through you.
Right.
They are not yours.
Okay.
They are God's creation. They have their own nature.
So
Like you have your nature, I have my nature,
I agree.
right? So I need to live my life totally. I don't have to sell my personality to anybody. Unfortunately, in this world, we are selling Jesus Christ for a few coins, you know. So similarly, we are selling ourselves, our personality to many things for money, for this and that. So therefore, what we are supposed to do is we have to follow our inner calling, right? So unfortunately, when you, for convenience sake or for whatever reason, you get into some other nature. In Sanskrit, we call it as paradharma. Dharma means nature. Para means alien. Paradharma, alien nature. The opposite of it is swadharma, one's own nature.
Okay.
So in Vedanta, we say you must follow your swadharma. In fact, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 35. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtita swadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. It's one of the most beautiful shlokas. There Sri Krishna says, it is better to die performing your swadharma, means following your own nature, rather than excelling doing somebody else's nature.
So would this example be appropriate? A child who is more artistically inclined, asking them to join science would be inappropriate because that's really, yeah.
Absolutely. See, it's like asking a peacock to sing and a nightingale to dance.
Okay. So
Nightingale's nature is to sing. Peacock's nature is to dance.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So at Pragya, this is what we want to bring to the world. The wisdom and the knowledge has already and always existed. Partha Ji has decoded the Bhagavad Gita and all the books, whether it's the Vedanta treatise or business and relationship. They're all fantastic books. And it's amazing knowledge, which I find it very simple to understand and apply as well. So it's knowledge understood, but also the application. I'm going to share my little experience with you. I was running around looking for knowledge, and somehow it was not that easy. Doing it in the morning at home, online courses, seems to me the perfect solution. Is there a tip that you would like to give on that? Because I've been guided not to take notes. What would you like to say on that?
Okay. So when you talk about online course, See, ideally speaking, going and sitting in front of a guru and learning personally is the best.
I agree.
But when somebody is not able to do that, then the next option today, thanks to this technology and everything, we have this online option. You know, so of course one can learn from that, and even that, Swamiji always says, wake up early in the morning and listen to the lectures. Why does he say listen? Don't take notes. See, there's a lot of difference between listening and hearing.
Okay.
When you take notes, mostly you are hearing, you're not listening. You know, so when you are there as a shishya, you should be connected with the guru. So when you're connected with the guru, the words are allowed to go in. At that time, when you're listening, don't think, right? You just absorb. Then later on, you can think why Swamiji said so.
Right.
Then you develop your intellect. Otherwise, you are just taking notes, then you're just listening
Doing
to
the
sound,
same.
you're writing down, then you think I will study later. Very often you don't. So therefore, you should sit and listen and then absorb as much as you can. Then later on, once you have done all your studies, then you can sit and think why Swamiji said. And mostly when you are doing an online course, very often the concepts are repeated in different ways, So it gets reiterated in you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what time would be the most suitable and why?
For study, the most suitable is early morning.
Okay.
4 to 6 we call it as Brahma Muhurta. Now, see, when we say get up early morning, 4 o'clock and study, obviously we mean you should go to bed early. So that you had, like at least 6 to 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Supposing you go to bed at 2 o'clock and get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you will not be able to study or listen to any lectures or anything of the sort.
Right.
So therefore, when you rest, your body has rested well.
Right.
You've had good REM cycles. Like they say, if you sleep for about 7 to 8 hours, you've had about 5 REM cycles. So everything is kind of settled. Your subtle body is kind of settled. When you wake up, you're fresh.
Okay.
And the outside environment is also conducive for you to sit and think and study. And when you're woken up, it's not that immediately your conscious mind has come out fully. So your desires and your biased thoughts, conditionings have not yet come out. So that's
Right.
the best time to develop your intellect.
What would be a good time for if there was options where school and children started to learn Vedanta? Because the way I see it, I had lived half my life already before I was exposed to his books, but having said that, or his study, had I done it at an earlier age, it would have made me in the here and now, in my oneness, with knowing that every desire of mine will come with a cause and effect. And what is really driving me, and this illusion about the fact that we are just the body. So I feel that I am a bearer of late learning, and I feel at Pragya that we feel that it should be at a very young age. And what would be the right age according to you?
Yeah, see, the right age is when we start questioning. So if you see in children, around the age of 10, 11, 12,
Right.
they start questioning. That's the time we need to introduce Vedanta.
Okay.
It's
So
better,
teenage.
Okay, in your case, you said you learnt it later. Better late than never. But then, ideally speaking, when we just start questioning, because in the beginning only the physical brain is developing, then slowly the mind starts developing the emotions, and then the the what do you call the
Desires?
intellect.
Intellect.
Intellect
Okay.
starts asking question and all that. Why
Okay.
is it so? Why it's not this way? Why it should be that way? When you start questioning, that's the time you need to be introduced to Vedanta. Ideally speaking.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you very much. Thank you.